Hello once again. It's time for Exiles TV, and we thank you so much for joining us on this Tuesday, the 12th? 12th. See, I lose track. But hey, the good news is we all got a little good news from our governor yesterday that he's going to be as good as his word and begin lifting the lockdown as of this coming Friday.
What was that movie where they said, well, you got the sugar, now you're going to get the sulfur?
There you go.
Because when businesses try to get back into swing, we're going to see how many of them are going to say, can't do it, can't make it. There's going to be plenty of pain to go around.
Mm-hmm.
Today on the show, a lot of people have been afraid to involve themselves in their real estate transactions, even though interest rates, because of this, have gone to an all-time low. People are saying, well, I don't know that I can, see a house. I don't know that I can do a closing. Bryan Jeansonne, attorney at law, and also he is the president of Lakeland Title, a very large title company here in Baton Rouge, will be joining us in about a half an hour or so to talk about the effect of COVID on the real estate market and if, in fact, you can get a bargain interest rate, if you can get a closing, if you can get into a new house, if that's what you'd like to do right now. Just kind of look at the economics of COVID from the real estate area.
I'm going to leave all those specifics to Bryan, but my wife Marianne is a mortgage lending professional.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, her gang at Gulf Coast Bank
and Trust,
Mortgage Lending.
Member FDIC.
I'll go ahead and plug them. They've done a wonderful job of setting themselves up to be able to work from home, do conference calls, and do meetings via Zoom. And they've set up different mechanisms for people to do things remotely, whereas they normally would be in a room together. But they have stayed extremely busy.
Well, I guess that's a very good sign.
Yes.
That is a very, very good sign.
Extremely busy. Those that have money are availing themselves of cheap money, and some are buying homes, some are buying multiple homes, and some are just refinancing the homes that they have. Well, the rates are so incredibly low.
Well, I never understood why people were saying, well, I'm not doing that now. If you were going to, if you were looking for a home in February and the interest rates dropped in March, which they did,
mm-hmm.
It's bonanza time. There's nothing about this, unless you are ill and in the hospital yourself, that keeps you from making your purchase or closing. I never understood that.
It's a really good time if you thought, I'd like to get a better rate, if you thought about refinancing the home to take advantage of, right now you can borrow in the 3s easily if you've got good credit. If you can do that, now is a great time to refinance your home. If you've thought about doing like a refinance for the purpose of doing a major renovation, now is the time. So I'll be here. I'll be interested to hear what Bryan has to say when he joins us later. Now, Bryan's not going to be with us.
No,
today,
we're going to attempt a FaceTime video call. We've got you can't see it in this camera shot, but next to me over here, we have got an iPad whose screen has been freshly scrubbed, and we have got a FaceTime video call set up in place. So hopefully it will all work, and we will have Bryan's face on the screen along with Kevin's and mine. If not, we'll do a regular phone call, but it's always more exciting, this is after all television, to have the video for you. In our second hour today...
We'll look forward to looking up Bryan's nostrils.
Yeah, a question Kevin raised a few weeks ago. Your ride's here. Could you hear that?
That was EMS.
EMS. Your ride is here. You don't look too good.
Thanks.
But you raised the question a couple of weeks ago, and I thought it was a great question. As we are recovering economically and health-wise from COVID, we find ourselves right in the middle of hurricane season.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, a lot of people, particularly governmental people, make all kinds of preparations for hurricane season. Is that going to change because we are still going to have the tail end of this COVID straining at our financial resources and straining at our reserves and things like that? So to talk about that.
Plus, how do you socially distance in a hurricane shelter? You don't.
You don't.
You don't.
But the man of Steele, Mike Steele, communications director for GOHSEP, will be with us in the second hour of the program to talk about a little of that as well. So we have got all kinds of things to take care of today. We're glad you are with us. Make sure you tell your friends. And again, remember, we have a replay. Every day we are live, there is a replay at 10 o'clock in the evening. It goes from 10 till midnight. So if you like the program, if you missed it, if you're tired of seeing teenage news anchors stumble through their copy, then you can join us at 10 o'clock and stay up till midnight, drink a toast, go to bed, do it all over tomorrow morning. Is that easy or what?
Sounds like fun.
Sounds like fun. More to come on Exiles TV. We'll talk a little bit more about the not stay-at-home order, but kind of go out and kind of do stuff, but still kind of stay away. And I got a bone to pick with the governor, by the way.
A lot of people have a bone to pick with the governor.
He pointed his big old fist at me and said, "Not you." All because of my age.
Mm-hmm.
Harumph, harumph, harumph.
Age discrimination. It's very real.
More
very
to come
real.
on Exiles TV. Stick around.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Back to Exiles TV. I'm Bill Papita. He's Kevin Gallagher.
Hey.
Glad to have you along with us. If we'd been thinking, we should have had him put on a little Martha and the Vandellas dancing in the streets coming back to this break. Because we can now.
Yeah, we can gather in groups of more than 10. But I noticed that the governor's phase 1 doesn't allow a bar to reopen if the bar does not have a license to serve food from LDH.
Well, he's probably doing them a favor because you can't have a bar that's only a bar and not have a line of stools at your bar and not have tables that are close together. It just won't work.
Yeah. Also, eating establishments that do have bars, they say you can't just stand at the bar because that's not social distancing.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what the next few, and how long will that last? Some say he'll probably begin phasing that out like June 10th.
Tomorrow. The public will speak tomorrow.
Here's the thing. I get a strong feeling that, because I've already seen it, that you're going to see. We've already seen, if you've been out, we've seen that a lot of people are saying stay-at-home order. To hell with that.
Yeah.
Because just yesterday I was out. I had one errand to run. I had to cross town. And I saw plenty of traffic on side streets, major intersections. There's plenty of people out and about. So the stay-at-home order, not so much. We'll see whether anybody flouts the conditions of phase 1 of the reopening.
I think
Because
you can bet on it.
I don't know if the governor thinks that he can, turn around and, well, you didn't do what I told you in phase 1, so I'm locking you back down.
And you know what everybody's going to say?
To hell with you.
Tony Spell. Tony Spell.
Yep.
Tony Spell.
Yeah.
The governor threw away any type of actual enforcement power about 5 weeks ago.
Yep. How many weeks ago was it that Reverend Spell was in violation of his stay-at-home order with an ankle monitor, and they did nothing?
Been 2 weeks now.
They've done nothing. So this guy had a condition set on his bail. He violated the condition almost immediately, and nothing's been done. Because, come on, nobody really wants to jail a preacher. It just makes him a martyr.
Well, but the thing is, he wasn't being jailed because he was a preacher. He was jailed because he tried to back
Tried
into
to back
somebody,
over
with,
somebody
a bus.
with a bus.
You know, and that's the thing. People
But in a
like to-
preacherly way.
People like to mix the metaphors on this, and John, God, I would not want to be a governor right now and have to do these press conferences. And here's what we can do. Here's what we can't do. Here's what you should do. Here's what you might not do. Here's what your mama ought to do. And he sat there yesterday, and if you're of a certain age, you should probably ignore all this and keep staying home, and keep wearing your mask. And I have seen 30-year-olds that are more at risk than I am. Particularly the ones that are 75 pounds overweight. Mm-hmm. They drink all their meals. Mm-hmm. They still smoke cigarettes. Mm-hmm. They're a hell of a lot more at risk than I am at this moment.
Lots of good Southern cooking.
Yeah. What's your blood pressure there, Sparky?
So is that what you meant when you had a bone to pick with the governor?
That was it, yeah.
He's saying if you're old, stay home still.
That's right. And keep wearing your mask.
Well, yeah, and this is what I say to people that are against us reopening. If you're scared, stay home. If you're scared, wear your mask. If you're scared, wear your gloves. If you're scared, be scared.
You know what I might do?
I'm not scared.
I do have an M95 at home. Mm-hmm. I might start wearing that to protect me from them.
Well, the whole idea of
the mask now is to protect them from me.
Yeah, we've talked about the mask ad nauseum, and a lot of people seem to think that the mask is going to protect them from people. The mask is to protect people from you, in case you've got it. That's why you wear a mask. If you're out in public, you might have it, not know it. What does they say? 8 days?
Asymptomatic for a while, yeah.
And some that have been longer than 8 days because they're carrying the virus, and it's just not making them sick for whatever reason. They've got antibodies or whatever reason.
They just have a strong constitution the virus can't attack, but they still got it and shed it.
Mm-hmm. So that's what the mask is for. If you've got the virus, you don't want to give it to somebody else. That's what the mask is for. The gloves, on the other hand, are to protect you from picking the virus up on something.
Yeah, and again, you have to change them very frequently.
And
if you touch something with your gloved hand and then you put it to your face, screwed.
Right. And we do that. We touch our face without even thinking about it.
I might actually take the everyday mask and put a sign on it that says, "This one's for you," and take the M95 and say, "This one's for me."
The thing about touching your face is you just don't understand. You don't realize you're doing it. It's a subconscious. I had a friend who watches the program, and he said, "Kevin, the other day while you were talking about not touching your face, you touched your face 5 times in the space of about 15 minutes." And I just don't even think about it.
Yeah, Zoom has asked a lot of people that use their organization to help them with a survey. Mm-hmm. And they found the first week they did this, they had a bunch of people that were conducting Zoom meetings that kept kind of tabs on things. 26 times an hour is the average time that somebody touches their face.
Yeah. Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Not at all.
And kids, oh my God. Now, the one thing about this order that is good is that you can't have any type of tactile exhibits open at your museum, and children's museums are closed. I mean, because kids, they'll put their hands in anything, and then right in their mouth, right in your mouth, the kids will go and dig through the kitty litter pan and go, "Look, Mommy." You know, the kids will touch anything and right to the mouth.
Before we go to break, I want to say this real quick. Stopped to clean my car at Benny's on Coursey and get some trash out of it and give it a quick vacuum. I saw no less than 5 pair of gloves that they'd taken off the gloves. They made it close to the garbage can.
Didn't quite make it.
But didn't quite make it to the garbage can. It's like, put them in the trash. The pavement's not the place for your spent gloves. Come on, people.
Gloves are becoming
better
the
than
new toothpick flosser thing.
I think some people think they're biodegradable and they just fade away to nothing.
If they were, they wouldn't help you much, would they?
More coming up. We're going to take a quick break. This is Exiles TV. Thanks for being with us.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to greystonecountryclub.com.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
For Total Home Pest Control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvat.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hello, boys and girls. Welcome back. I'm Uncle Kevin. He's Uncle Bill. Glad to have y'all with us. In just a few minutes, we're going to talk about the effects of the COVID-19 virus and the ensuing lockdown or stay-at-home order or whatever you want to call it on the real estate industry, on closures of homes, on refinances and things like that. Attorney at law Bryan Jeansonne is a closing attorney, and he's also the president of a large title firm here in town. He's going to be talking with us. We got a Facebook.
Yeah, we're gonna do a FaceTime video.
FaceTime. Is that a good idea? I always thought that gave a whole new meaning to an obscene phone call when you have to actually see the person's face.
Well, I know when I was in college, we used to call it something different.
You know, when we were kids and we saw Dick Tracy and the two-way wrist TV, and they thought, wow, we need that, man. We need video phones. It's like, no, we don't need video phones. You know why video
and now
phones?
we have video phones.
So now that you got video phones, there's things you can't do. Like when somebody's talking to you, you can't do this. You can't have the phone, and you can't be going, yeah, right, got it.
Somebody's
let me jot that number down. Oh, yeah, I got a pen. Go ahead.
I got that. Marty's doing ringtones over there for us. just so we'll be distracted from our daily work. But yeah, I also have to wonder how much impact those who have been furloughed without pay, as opposed to those who have continued to draw their paycheck during the COVID virus.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that'll make a great deal of difference.
I think that you're seeing a big difference whether or not people are going without pay. When you look at social media, you can tell the ones that are going without pay or are concerned about the ones that are going without pay, as opposed to the people who have had no interruption in pay. Because most of them say, yeah, we should stay home another month.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Because they're not hurting. They've suffered no interruption in pay. But other people are worried that their business may not be able to reopen. I saw a post just yesterday that said, now I'm ready to start rehiring my workers, but they're making a crap ton of money on unemployment right now.
Well,
and
a lot
the
of
thing
people
is,
that got-
if you say, hey, I called them and asked them to come back to work, they said no because they were making more money on unemployment. Guess what happens? They refuse to go back to work. Their unemployment gets cut, and then their employer's the bad guy because he took away the goose that was laying golden eggs.
Well, and again, a lot of the people that lost their incomes immediately were people that were hourly or hourly plus tips service industry.
Mm-hmm.
And I think most of them probably didn't average about $850 a week.
No. I mean, for unemployment, that's not bad money.
No.
Your usual max is what, 247?
247.
Yeah, on unemployment, that's maximum you can make on unemployment per week. Add 600 to that.
Yeah.
And that, if you were working as a waitress and working mostly for tips plus whatever little pittance of hourly you were getting, that looks pretty good.
Yeah, you're making more money. Have you been watching all the, as I now refer to it, the remora advertising? You know what a remora is,
yeah,
right?
Explain, but please, though.
A remora is a fish that actually attaches to the back of a larger fish and sucks its nutrients and goes along for the ride, wherever it may be, of the larger fish.
Oh, and we'll detach and eat slough if that's available.
And we'll detach and eat slough. And again, I mean no disrespect to the healthcare workers. I think they're doing heroic jobs, but it is their job. And what tickles me is they are not losing money. They're getting paid. Many of them make overtime for this.
Well, no, not all of them. In some
Yeah.
cities, there are healthcare workers that their hospital doesn't have any patients. So some are actually being furloughed.
Mm-hmm.
And their pay is temporarily suspended.
But in our situation here, the healthcare workers working here are getting paid, many of them making overtime because they're very, very busy. And you have these remora advertisers. To show our support for healthcare workers, we're offering a free gift basket of pajamas. And it's like, really? You're that desperate that they got their own pajamas. Not to the homeless shelters, not to the people who have been laid off.
I understand where you're going. There have been some recent efforts, and God bless them for making the effort, but there have been efforts, we're going to deliver meals to the heroes working the front lines of our healthcare workers. It's like, well, what about the people that might not be getting a meal because they're not earning any money?
Yeah, what about the restaurant people that have no money to buy food? Why don't you subsidize meals for them?
Now, I don't want to, we had this conversation. I'm going to soften my position on the whole healthcare workers are heroes. I think if you've chosen a profession where on any given day when you go to work, your health or your safety could be on the line. You could be exposed to a dangerous illness. You could be exposed to a dangerous patient.
Mm-hmm.
And I know nurses that have sustained serious injury because they were exposed to a dangerous patient. Not just healthcare workers, firemen, cops, the people that are willing to accept a job where their life could be on the line or their health or their well-being could be on the line. Yes, they're heroes.
When crazy
Absolutely.
calls, EMS answers. They go out there.
Absolutely, they're heroes. But I think that we should be careful how many people we use the word hero on lest we cheapen its meaning.
Well, here's the deal. I think all these people are highly skilled, highly motivated professionals. And if a professional goes and does their job, no matter what the circumstances, every single day, and does it very well, by definition, that's not heroic. That's being a true professional, which, by the way, I think is high praise. But boy, we love throwing the term hero around. Everybody's a hero.
We certainly do.
Yeah. I remember, and again, my father was a very proud Marine. My father-in-law was a very proud Marine. All of my near uncles served in the military. I grew up to have a great deal of respect for the military.
Mm-hmm.
But they never said everybody who was ever put on the uniform was a hero. And these were guys that were shot at in both theaters of World War II and in Korea.
Yes.
But I mean, I remember talking to somebody and I just kind of walked away. The day the case about the 6 Marines who gang raped 4 women on Guam.
Were they heroes?
That's what I asked. Because they started this.
They put the
uniform on was a hero. It just come out of his mouth. And I said, what about those guys?
Oh, well, of course not them. But they put the uniform on.
But that's the thing is we get into these generalizations. And the Remora advertisers, one of the Remora advertisers wants her customers to subsidize the gift packages she's sending to healthcare workers. And there are some that are going to say, oh, God, anything I can do to help. You know what you can do to help? Don't become a patient. Stay home.
Or at least take precautions.
Yeah. But I mean, the best commercial I've seen during all of this is the ones where you've got the healthcare workers that said, you know, we're here for you, you stay home for us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that was absolutely logical and it was very well done. But God, these Remora advertisers like Jimmy John's Snowball Stand is supporting our healthcare workers. Really? Really?
Moral support, Bill.
They don't need it. And, you know, you're turning them... Most people aren't that stupid. We can see you trying to glom on to people who are working very, very hard so that you think your star is going to shine a little better. You know, glomming is very, very, very apparent to most of us.
Who doesn't love a good glom?
I love a good glom. Oh, and boy, did you see the video inside that United Airlines plane?
No.
Oh, my God.
What happened? Tell me. I love a good airline story.
Well, if you remember 4 weeks ago, they said, we're blocking off all of our center seats. We're going to sanitize our airplanes. We're going to social distance. All of our flight crew will be wearing masks, you know, and protective gear. You know, your safety is the most important thing. And a flight left their hub in Newark, which services New York City.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know Newark well, yeah.
And a bunch of the people on board were doctors and nurses from out west who didn't have any COVID going on in their communities, and they volunteered to go help out in New York. And now they're going home. 737-800, 168 seats.
How many?
168 passengers.
Uh-oh, no social distancing there.
Well, and they broke their promise to block off their middle seat, which, by the way, I said they can't make any money with a third of their seats empty.
Mm-hmm.
But they never rescinded that promise. And there was a doctor on board who shot a picture, and he's like, what the hell? You didn't promise. You promised that you would not book your flights full, keep the middle seats open.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so now United has said, well, if the flight looks like it's full, 24 hours from departure time, we will send you an email. And then you can decide if you want to maybe take another flight that isn't quite so full.
Got it.
Are you kidding me?
They could just go ahead and fill the flights and give everybody a mask and a pair of gloves.
Well, they were all wearing masks on that flight.
Okay.
But they said that they were going to block that middle seat.
Yep.
They sent it to every United customer on the planet. I got one.
These are very unrealistic promises or plans. There are certain situations where, I mean, come on. Airlines need to fill the plane.
I get that, but you know what? Don't send a gushy email.
Don't make promises you can't keep. Is that what you're saying?
That's right. All right, we're going to go to the break. Bryan Jeansonne will be with us in just a moment. Hey, Bryan, how are you?
Hey, doing good.
All right, we're going to take a break, and then you're up, okay?
All right, sounds great.
Bryan Jeansonne with Lakeland Title joins us right after this break. Back with you in a moment.
In our second hour, we're also going to talk about GOHSEP. The Governor's Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness. Spokesman Mike Steele will be with us. What happens if we're still in semi-lockdown mode and a hurricane hits? That's on the way. Stay with us. Exiles TV returns in just moments here.
That's right, the Clarence Bugg Show is back, along with the Exiles, Bill Profita and Kevin Gallagher. We've put the band back together, South Louisiana's talk team, and it's only on the Pelican. 10 a.m. till 12 noon, right here on the Pelican.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing.
You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Exiles from what you ask? Exiled from the radio. But now, we're on your television.
I'm Bill Profita. He's Kevin Gallagher, and they kicked us to the curb.
But we're back.
We are back with Exiles Television on the Pelican Broadcasting Network. We're going to bring you the newsmakers. We're also going to take your calls and give you great information. It's going to be the best damn radio show on television.
Look for it on your cable system or download the app, PelicanSportsTV.com. Hey, we're back. This is Exiles TV. Bill Profita, Kevin Gallagher.
And in the little box at my right, we have Bryan Jeansonne. Bryan is an attorney. and he also is the principal in Lakeland Title. And Bryan, it's glad to have you with us. Bryan is joining us by FaceTime video. How are you, Bryan?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
So one of the things that Kevin said a while ago was, his wife, who is a mortgage originator, has been busy, and she's a trainer as well. So all of her staff has been very, very busy. Has COVID affected people's ability to get into real estate, to make a purchase, to have their closing? What has it been like in the real estate market?
Well, as far as the closing side, things have changed a little bit. You have a lot of lenders now who are finally embracing e-signatures. So, they've always been able to do e-signatures for a long time, but they just really haven't embraced it until now. And so you're seeing the closing packages are a lot smaller than they used to be. So when you're coming to a closing, you're signing a lot fewer documents than you used to in the past. Also, the closing procedures, some title companies aren't allowing anyone but one party at a time to come to a closing. We at Lakeland Title, we're just kind of doing whatever the customer wants. So we can do as much or as little contact as the customer wants. I had one where the customer didn't even want to come in the building. They wanted me to take all the package out to their car to sign, and we were happy to do that. And pretty much everything in between. But closings are still going on. The only real problem is that there's a lack of sellers. So it's really it's a seller's market right now. So, I mean, if you're looking to list, this is a great time to list your property.
Now, lack of sellers, is that, do you think, because people that might be disposed to sell their property are afraid of this virus? And
some of it was just kind of the unknowns, just kind of not knowing how things were going. So people who were thinking about listing their property just decided to sit and wait. A lot of people don't want people coming in and out of their houses right now, especially if they're still living in the house. They just don't want, a bunch of strangers coming in there. So you're seeing a whole lot of increase in the virtual showings and virtual tours, for properties that are listed. You're seeing a big increase in that.
What about the money supply right now, Bryan? I mean, we know that interest rates have come down to the absolute floor, but is the supply plentiful enough for people who maybe don't have sterling credit but have just plain good credit to get these really low interest rates?
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of refinances, so a lot of people are refinancing, and the lenders are still lending money, so there really hasn't been any kind of credit crunch like that. So people who are, can find a house and they're still willing to get those loans, and the lenders are still out there making loans, so that hadn't been a problem yet.
See, what Bryan is telling us is it reinforces what I'm experiencing secondhand while I'm, in the room watching Marianne work. The banks are bending over backwards to accommodate people and their comfort level during this COVID-19 crisis. And she says everybody up the chain, including the title lawyers, the closing lawyers, the title companies and everything, they're doing everything they can to make this thing safe and appealing to people.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about curbside paperwork. As long as they don't ask you to put it in a Cane's box, I guess you can handle that, huh?
Exactly, yeah. Well, I mean, we'll do whatever it takes to accommodate our customers, whatever makes them feel safe. I mean,
Bryan, question.
We're fine with it.
If you've got a little, because sometimes at closing you get a little check, I mean, even if, if you're closing on a refi, you might get a little cash out. If you're the seller, of course, you're going to get a check. How does that work with curbside? You come out, you get them to sign, you go back in, then you bring them the check, or do you have the check and you make it all on one trip?
It kind of depends. Sometimes people are just signing the documents and they're going and they're saying, mail me my check, just put it in a FedEx and send it to me.
Are you doing?
And other times I'll just wait and I'll just have to go back and forth in and out of the building, and it's not that bad because because these closing packages are so much lighter with all the e-signing. The closings are just generally taking a lot less time than they used to.
How many are opting for electronic transfers?
Most of them. Most are. I've only had, I think, one or two that didn't want to sign on to the e-signing, didn't want to authorize that, but most people are doing that just because it saves them time. It's less time they're having to be at the closing, less time they're having to be out of the house. So the customers are really enjoying it.
Again, you are a closing attorney. You do all the abstraction, all that, make sure all the paperwork is in order, and you're going to get your referrals from real estate agents. Mm-hmm. How are they managing to work in this environment?
They're doing okay. I mean, it's a little bit different because they can't have open houses and you're not doing a lot of in-person showings. So it's been a change for them, but they seem to be adapting pretty well. they've really taken to the virtual showings and kind of doing stuff over FaceTime and Zoom, a lot more than they did before. And so it was a little rough. April was, kind of a slower month, just because everybody was kind of getting used to how we're going to work in this environment, but they've seemed to adapt it to it. So
Some of my friends who are agents are using Facebook Live to great advantage. And also they just take a lot of photographs and post those and post their listing inside and out. So they're making good use of social media.
Well, Bryan, I think you were the first title company and attorney to do podcasting for informational purposes in this market. Are you still doing that? Is that part of your outreach?
Yeah, we still have plans to do more episodes of the podcast. We've been a little busy with all kind of adapting to this new scenario, so we haven't had time to put one on the books, but we are still looking to do some more podcast episodes. I'm going to do one. My next one I'm planning to do is just kind of walk people through the entire process from start to finish, from buying or selling all the way to the closing, and just kind of explain the whole process, because that seems to be the episodes that people like the most, is when you really get into the whole process and explaining the part that people don't see.
Do you do any commercial work? I know for a while it was very vogue to have a business condo, which was basically you bought it or you put a mortgage on it, and it was affected much the same way you would a home purchase. What's that market like now?
We haven't seen as many commercial closings as we used to, so that seems to maybe kind of slowed a little bit. I think people are just kind of rethinking how much office space they might need. And as far as commercial, I think a lot of people are just kind of staying put right now. So from our end, the commercial aspect is kind of slowed, but also I think you've got a lot of your lenders right now aren't really focused on commercial. It seems like they're focused more on getting these PPP loans out and these residential loans out and these refinances. So that seems to be the main concern right now.
Bryan, do you think that this COVID-19, the shutdown and the fact that so many people are working from home and things, do you think this might bring about a permanent change in the amount of commercial real estate that's going to be demanded?
I think it might. I mean, I haven't seen any evidence of that yet, but that's my personal prediction, is that you're going to see businesses really rethinking how they do their commercial office space, because I think having everyone being forced to work from home is kind of proving that maybe we don't need as many offices as we thought, and maybe we can have people working from home half the week and just kind of have a shared office space that you split with somebody else or multiple people, and so that you don't have people in the office as much as you used to.
I am hearing that explanation. I'm also hearing a lot of businesses where they have had people working from home, but they've also had some layoffs as well, are now saying, okay, we've now learned what we can do without, and I've got 1,000 square feet that I will not be able to use. So I may move to something smaller or renegotiate my lease. I do think commercial real estate is going to have an impact that they're not going to like here as we all get back into things.
That's true, and you might see the return to the actual office space. That was kind of a trend that was going away, where you had individual offices, and you might see a trend. You just had the big bullpen type area, but we might see a trend where we go back to individual offices that are just kind of shared. So where you don't have your own office, you just have something you're sharing with multiple people, and you just go in, 1 or 2 days a week, and the rest of the time you're working from home.
One of the things I wanted to ask is a large part of your job, any title attorney, you need to make sure that what people are buying is absolutely available. In other words, no liens, no encumbrments. They do have the deed, which means you got to spend some time in courthouses and clerk of court's offices and things like that. Are you able to do that all electronically, or do you still have to get out there and go in person sometime?
The clerk's office has actually been really easily adaptable to this whole situation, because a lot of them had already transitioned to having their records online. So a lot of that hadn't been an issue. The ones that didn't have a lot of records online, they're still letting people in just on a very limited basis, but you can still get in there for those places that don't have the electronic records. But most of them, before this even happened, had most everything online. So that really hadn't been a problem from the clerk aspect. We haven't had any trouble getting any kind of records that we've needed or anything like that.
If somebody has got questions in your field of expertise, which is, closings, title, abstracting, real estate, etc., how do they get in touch with you?
Okay, we have a Facebook page, so you can always go to our Lakeland Title Facebook page. We're also on Twitter and Instagram, and so you can message us through any of those platforms and we'll respond. You can email me at Bryan, Bryan, @brclosing.com. And you can always give us a call. Our number is 225-387-5005. So however you prefer to communicate, we're happy to respond timely.
Bryan Jeansonne, attorney at law and president of Lakeland Title. If you're interested in real estate, if you're worried, if you've got questions, he is the man that can answer those questions. Bryan, we appreciate your being with us this morning. We're going to let you go now and let you get back to work, and we'll talk again sometime real soon.
All right, sounds great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Still to come, we're going to talk about a little bit with GOHSEP. Mike Steele with the Governor's Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness is going to check in. We're going to find out what happens if we're still under some form of shutdown, lockdown because of COVID-19, and then we have to have a hurricane response. That's on the way.
Bryan, you still hear me?
Oh, yeah.
All right. We took this segment long so that we could do it all in one swoop for you. So we're taking our break, so you're free to go, and thank you.
For total home pest control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvant.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Clarence Bug Show. Yeah, I'm back on the air. That's right, 10 a.m. until 12 noon, Monday and Wednesday, and we replay it Monday and Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. to midnight. Check us out online. You can watch it live at PelicanSportsTV.com, or better yet, why don't you just download the Pelican Broadcasting app? That way you can take it with you anywhere you go. That's right, the Clarence Bug Show. Tell you what, oh, wait, gotta run, gotta go, bye.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Welcome back. It's Exiles TV, and we're so glad to have you. By the way, if you missed any part of this, remember that we do rerun the program late at night from 10 until midnight. And we pick the best of Exiles TV for that week, and we also rerun that on Saturdays and Sundays for you as well, so if you missed it. And then there's always YouTube, because within hours of the program completing, Jonathan posts it up on the YouTube page. Search for Pelican Broadcasting on YouTube.
So, that's all the different ways you can get us.
That's it.
And Kevin's home phone number is?
Area code 225.
He gets paid to talk to people, you know.
Joining us now.
Ladies, are you lonely?
Joining us now on set is a man that wears a lot of hats. We've had him on our radio program many, many times. I like to call him a Trump administration insider. Bryan Trascher is with us. Bryan, always good to see you. How are you?
It's great to see you guys, especially since not only has it been a while, but I'm glad to see you guys healthy and working.
doing our very best to do both.
Right. Yeah. I like to say that many of us are going back to work so that everybody else can stay at home. You're welcome.
Yeah. So you have been posting a lot on Facebook.
Been known to do that when I'm not in Facebook jail.
Yeah, been spending time with your kid.
Yeah.
Because you've been dividing your time between actually going in and staying at home. How has that been working for you?
Well, it's been working great. Been very fortunate to have a family place over on the Mississippi Gulf Coast because throughout this whole time, especially in the beginning when there were rumors of quarantine, lockdown, whatever you want to call it, let's just say I didn't trust the city of New Orleans to make rational decisions about that, and I didn't want to be told that I couldn't leave my house or couldn't go out and drive in my car if I had to, whatever. So made sure the place over there was ready to be occupied, and my daughter's school shut down in March, and so able to take her out there a few days a week and catching crabs and fishing and just showing her all the things that I did when I grew up. So I've got to spend some good quality time. Plus, I've been off the road. You guys know I'm about 100,000 mile a year air traveler. So that's been on hiatus. So I think it's been good for the soul.
Let's start with that a little bit.
Yeah.
When it appears to be absolutely all clear, how are you going to feel about getting back into an airplane?
I mean, just as I always have. I mean, there's nothing. Man was not made to fly. But so we invented machines, and I'm just going to get back on. I usually frequent American Airlines, and they've already told me that I'm going to have to wear a face mask when I travel starting May 11th, which I think is today, right?
They told me that in January.
Yeah.
It was personal, though.
Yesterday, by the way.
Yeah.
Yesterday, yeah. So whatever I have to do to comply. I'm not scheduled to fly, probably not until next month at the earliest. So we'll see if they're still doing that at that point. But if that's the rules, that's the rules. And that's kind of how I've been taking this. I'm not one of these people that believes I have to wear a mask everywhere I go. I've been to the Louisiana Capitol a few times, and they don't force you to wear a mask, but the House Sergeant at Arms, which are some of the sweetest, most capable people in the world, kind of said, would you do us a favor and wear a mask if you go into the chamber or committee room? And of course, I'll do just about anything those nice folks ask me.
Yeah, when they ask politely too, how can you refuse?
Exactly.
Well, Kevin and I were talking about this at the opening of the show. There's a big brouhaha about what airlines have been saying and what they're doing.
Right.
And United, and I'm sure you've gotten this, I'm sure you're a frequent flyer on all of them. United sent a big missive out about 3 weeks ago saying your safety is paramount, HEPA filters on all the airplanes, extra sanitizing, all middle seats will be blocked so that you have social distancing, all flight crew will wear masks, all gate agents will wear masks, we will probably ask our customers, we'll supply them with masks. And then you get this flight out of Newark that is absolutely jam-packed.
Right.
And it's got a bunch of volunteer doctors on board who came to help out in the New York area.
And then find out they had to pay New York State income tax.
Yeah. And one of
Thank
them,
you for your help. Pay your taxes.
Right.
One of them took a picture. And it's like, what the hell? And United got caught with their pants down because they just sent to all of their premium customers, we're going to block that middle seat. We're going to keep you safe.
Right.
And I've been on some crowded airline flights. This one was absolutely jam-packed.
Yeah.
And there are going to be a lot of people who go, see, they're not going to do what they said they're going to do.
It's almost impossible to. People keep using the term "new normal." This is not going to be a new normal.
No.
I mean, after 9/11, there was kind of a new normal as far as like
TSA,
TSA, and airport security, and I think that a new normal is going to be, hopefully, people are more conscious about washing their hands and using hand sanitizer and things like that, which they probably should have been doing anyway. Especially if you travel a lot, if you go out a lot and touch a lot of things in public, you probably should have been doing that anyway. But now I think it's on the public conscious now. So I think as a society, we'll probably develop better hygienic habits, which will be a good thing. But I mean, as far as like living in fear and thinking that you can't go shake hands with your next door neighbor and things like that, I mean, that's not going to be the new normal.
Well, the thing is, and a lot of people don't fly as much as you do or as I do, and they don't understand that
right here
for years, and I've seen it happen more than a dozen times. airlines can refuse and do refuse and must refuse to transport anybody who is showing any kind of symptoms of illness.
Right.
If you walk down that jetway and you are gasping for air and coughing and you are, gray, they're going to say, "Are you ill?" "Yes."
No,
"I'm sorry,
fine.
we can't take you."
Yeah.
I've seen people say, "Look, this guy behind me is sneezing all over the back of my seat and some of it's coming through. Move him or get him off this airplane."
And apparently, a friend told me that if you appear to have had too much to drink, they can
Oh,
refuse
yeah.
it.
Oh,
I mean, that's
yeah.
never happened to me. I
No,
usually
if
wait
you're
till I
gonna-
get on the plane.
If you're
to
going to
drink
get
that much.
drunk, do it on
the plane. Yes, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes,
The drinks are
indeed.
free anyway if you're a platinum member or whatever. So yeah, why not?
But I mean, the airlines have always had a mechanism to keep dangerous illness, or even illness that might cause the flight to be diverted. I mean, I've seen them. People come on with their own oxygen. You have to tell them in advance that you're bringing your own oxygen.
Right.
And when you get there, they're saying, "Okay, you got a doctor's certificate that says you can fly," and they say no. And they will, if they have time, they'll call the physician and say, "Is this person in danger of having a problem at altitude?" And the physician will say, "Well, yeah." And they say, "Sorry, we can't transport you because we're supposed to be going to Las Vegas. We don't want to have to come down in Dubuque."
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I don't see anything wrong with taking people's temperatures before they get on the plane. Matter of fact, they're doing that at the Capitol too. And you walk in, they're taking your temperature, asking you how you feel, things like that. I think for the time being, I don't think that's an invasion of my my privacy. Plus, I'm volunteering to be a customer. It's not like anybody's forcing me to go utilize the airline services. But again, I think people that are paranoid in general are going to be hyper paranoid about this situation. I think, like me, I think it's something that I took seriously. I practiced what I consider to be the proper safety precautions. I did an extraordinary amount of reading on exactly what actual safety protocols are, when you should wear a mask, when you don't have to wear a mask, things like that. There's people that think that if I don't wear a mask that I just want to kill my neighbors, and that's just ridiculous. It's absurd.
But you have firearms for that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's just about doing your research and getting yourself to a comfort level. And if a business like an airline is willing to sell their services, then I'm going to assume that they have done their research. If a restaurant is open, I'm going to assume that they have put into place protocols that makes them feel comfortable enough to serve the public, and I'm going to trust them. So yeah, it's about getting back to work. It only took a pandemic we've actually seen pandemics way worse than this, but we've never responded to one like this, to get the economy back to the way it was when President Trump took over. And fortunately, we were playing with a lot of House Trump money to where we didn't go into a deep depression. And I think if he fixed it once, he can fix it again. And I think that's what he's going to do.
Well, we're going to continue with you on the other side of the break.
Yeah,
but
because I want to delve a little bit
Yeah.
into the politics
I
of
want
this
to
response.
but I also want to give you an opportunity to plug your book. I'm sure that you're still in print and people can still get your book, so plug the book.
Yeah, Laws and Sausage, you can get it contactless delivery from Amazon.com.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a guide, tips and tricks on how anybody can affect the public policy process, regardless of their experience or education level. It's an easy read. It only takes a couple hours. Read it while you're fidgeting with your mask on your next flight.
And if you don't understand the reference, Laws and Sausages, it goes back to the Cold War with Nikita Khrushchev when he said, "No one likes to watch the sausages being made." In other words, you don't want to watch as they do all this.
But they are delicious.
But
Yes.
you too could be a lobbyist. You too could help affect public policy. But there's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. And that's why Bryan's book comes in really handy.
And a great book, by the way, and we're always glad to have Bryan Trascher with us.
What chapter are matching T-shirts in?
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, like Kevin said, there's a right way to do it, there's a wrong way to do it, and then there's my way. So buy the book and find out.
That's the sequel, Laws and Vienna Sausages.
There you go.
The people who think they're going to affect public policy but have no chance in hell.
Right.
We're going to cross the top of the hour, and we'll be back with more with Bryan Trascher. Mike Steele with GOHSEP also coming up in our second hour. Hope you'll be with us. Stay there.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing.
You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Exiles from what you ask? Exiled from the radio. But now, we're on your television.
I'm Bill Profita, he's Kevin Gallagher, and they kicked us to the curb.
But we're back.
We are back with Exiles Television on the Pelican Broadcasting Network. We're going to bring you the newsmakers. We're also going to take your calls and give you great information. It's going to be the best damn radio show on television.
Look for it on your cable system or download the app, PelicanSportsTV.com.
Hello, guys. It's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Welcome back to Exiles TV. Glad to have you along with us. I'm Bill Profita. He is Kevin Gallagher. Bryan Trascher, who is an author, a lobbyist, and a governmental insider, I think it's fair to say that, joins us. He used to be a semi-regular on our radio program. Now you get to see him in person on the television.
Get to see my radio face.
Yeah,
on TV.
and we all have that.
Right.
We every one of us carries that with us.
We're seeing this in the news. We're seeing it especially on social media with Joe and Mary America out there. Whether they are conservative or whether they lean liberal, there seems to be two different COVID-19 virus responses depending on what side of the political fence you're on.
Right.
How has this become so politicized? Is it because it's happened on Trump's watch?
Well, it happened on Trump's watch. You know, there's like this common false narrative that Trump didn't react early enough, when in fact he was the first elected official in the United States to even mention COVID-19 publicly or take any official action about it. And that was way back in January when he found out that China lied about the potential human transmission of this virus, and then found out that the WHO covered up for China and their lies. And that's when he said, okay, we're not going to take guidance from WHO anymore. We got to go. And he assembled his coronavirus task force right at the end of January. He shut down travel from China. By the way, when that was going on, the Democrats were still moving forward with the impeachment in the Senate, even though they knew that it had no chance of passing. They had no chance of convicting and removing the president from office. They saw this virus out there, they saw it coming, and decided to stick with politics, even though they knew it was an exercise in futility. President Trump took action. He shut down travel from China. He shut down travel from Europe, and he shut down all immigration. He formed a coronavirus task force. This was all at the end of January. Most politicians of any stripe weren't even talking about this until February. And I was arguing with somebody the other day, like, well, what could Congress have done about it? They could have passed a resolution. If they didn't think the president was acting soon enough, they could have passed a resolution urging the president to do something about it. The problem was he was already doing something about it, and they were still focused on impeachment.
Oh, and a lot of them were calling him a racist for shutting down travel from China.
Exactly.
And
xenophobic.
then, weeks
Joe
later,
Biden was the number one echo chamber of that false narrative that it was somehow xenophobic to shut down travel from China. We now know that it was a very prudent move that saved potentially millions of lives, and Joe Biden, now the presumptive nominee in chief of the Democrat Party.
Yeah. Well, what I found interesting, is that a lot of political figures, and I don't really know and don't really care what party they were from, or support or adhere to, at local, state, and even federal levels, were saying he's not doing enough. And the next quote was, "It's all blown out of proportion. It's all a hoax." Well, if people are treating it like it's a hoax inside the White House, why is he doing all these things to keep it from getting here?
He never said it was a hoax.
That's
He
right.
said that the response, the media hype, the panic that caused people to go and buy up every stitch of toilet paper in the country, all that was a hoax, and it turned out that it was. It didn't need to be overhyped that way. Nobody had to go buy a bunch of toilet paper. That was all just a reaction to whatever you call it.
Hypersensitivity.
Hypersensitivity, yeah. I'm terrible at making up words. But yeah, so, and then the next thing was he told people to inject bleach or Lysol. I had people telling me, the president said you should inject Lysol into your body. I'm like, really? They're like, yeah. I'm like, no, he did not. They're like, oh, I saw it with my own eyes and heard it with my own ears. I'm like, no, you didn't. I said he was talking about UV radiation therapy, something you probably don't even know what it is, which is a form of disinfectant. He said, and he says, you inject the light into you, and he said the word disinfectant. He said, should we be doing that? And have you heard of that? And Dr. Burke said, no, I haven't heard. And the president had just gotten out of a meeting with some experts that were giving him, he's like, look, there are no bad ideas. Tell me what's out there. They told him this. He asked Dr. Burke if she had heard of it. She said, no, not as a treatment for this. And that's where she left it. And next thing you know, everybody's like, the president's encouraging people to inject Lysol and bleach
Bryan,
and all this kind of stuff. And I hope that a lot of people did.
Bryan, he's had a tendency through this thing and through his presidency, frankly, to sometimes he spitballs.
Oh, yeah.
And some people don't mind spitballing at all. They consider that brainstorming.
Right.
But when the president does it, he comes under the fiercest scrutiny from the media.
Yeah, and I won't exonerate the president completely when it comes to his spitballing, kind of technique, because the president's words moves world markets.
Yes.
So you can make the argument that he should, if he's in the Roosevelt room with his team and there's no cameras around and he wants to say a bunch of stuff and propose a bunch of ideas, that's one thing. When he's doing it on live national global TV, maybe he should be a little more careful about what he says, because some people are absurdly stupid and will take the word disinfectant and translate it into Clorox, bleach, or Lysol and say that the president is encouraging people to inject this into their body, even though he didn't.
Quick follow-up question. You know the man. Are there two Donald Trumps? Is there the Donald Trump off camera and the Donald Trump who feeds off the camera?
Yeah, I would say there's three Donald Trumps. There's the guy you see, the character that it was a self-fulfilling prophecy that he really embraces. There's a Donald Trump inside of meetings when there's no cameras around, where, believe it or not, he does the least amount of talking. And then there's Donald Trump, the grandfather, that's around his kids and grandkids, that he never, ever wants to see anybody in the world see his human side. He considers that to be a weakness and would never let that out. So I would say there's three.
Well, it's been very, very interesting to watch the political back and forth and the man on the street back and forth that is so speculative and so far from any science that it's just added to the confusion that we have.
Well, I appreciate the fact that everyone on social media who was a constitutional scholar in December is now an infectious disease expert in May.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Facebook has granted a lot of degrees over the last few months.
The airlines are going to hire them to be transportation experts in June.
They absolutely should. Yeah.
I am Oliver Stone on Facebook because it's not the virus. I don't doubt the virus itself. I don't doubt that the virus is killing people. What I have my doubts about is, did we need to go to these extremes? And a lot of these extremes were on the state level. They weren't. The president didn't tell us shut your economy down.
Yeah, and look, it was our own Governor John Bel Edwards came under a lot of criticism when he extended the stay-at-home order. I personally don't think that extension to May 15th was overtly political. I think that on one side, the Republicans wanted the state to open up May 1st. Democrats wanted it to go on probably forever, but at least till the end of May. He split the difference and said, I'm not going to make anybody happy, and this is what we're going to do. Was it bad for business? Yeah. Did it send a bad signal about Louisiana's commitment to reopen the economy? You can make that argument. But at the same time, you got Republicans in the legislature, with an effort to try to curtail some of his emergency declaration powers. And by the time they're able to do anything, it'll be over. But you can also say that maybe for the next time. I don't know.
Well, you have the problem that we always have in Louisiana, and we always have it when the legislature is in session, and every governor has it, is that freaking New Orleans thinks they're a separate state.
Right.
And I think we should probably allow them to do this. This would have been time to take the political hacksaw and cut that ice flow off.
Well, if you remember, the Mayor Cantrell...
Just cast them adrift, huh?
Yeah, Mayor Cantrell in New Orleans extended...
She's doing that on her own. Yeah.
She extended a stay-at-home order on her own for Orleans Parish before the governor made his announcement.
Precisely my point.
And she did not consult with him before doing that. Now, I'm not saying it would have changed his mind one way or the other, but I did find out through some insiders that she did not talk to him about it, and he was a little surprised that she went ahead and did. But I mean, she has the authority to do it, or so she believes she does, so she's doing it.
Well, she could have consulted. Mr. Perry, the head of tourism, absolutely freaked out in a text exchange with one of her staffers, and I can't see as I blame him. I mean, tourism is the largest chunk of their annual economy.
Yeah, there's 90,000 or so workers that depend on the hospitality industry in New Orleans. It's the lifeblood. We've tried and talked about not depending so much on tourism or depending so much on oil and gas as a state. We're not there yet. We haven't come up with any real ideas. So as of right now, this is what our economy is, and we have to be sensitive
I
to
think CRT and Lieutenant Governor Nungesser have done a good job of trying to diversify our tourism footprint throughout the state.
Right.
But the problem you've got, and I happen to agree with Steve Perry at New Orleans and Company, Inc., that is their Visitors and Convention Bureau, basically. He was pointing out to this minion that they were with the governor and with several event planners with about $20 million worth of conventions on the table when she pulled the plug and made it a public announcement. Now, how do those people feel about coming to New Orleans after this is all over, when basically they made the effort to come here to say, how can we do this and still put a lot of money into your economy, and she pulls the rug?
Well, a couple things. I know you're being kind of like hyperbolic when you say minion, but it was actually the mayor's chief of staff, John Portia, who's a lawyer and a Baton Rouge guy, one of the nicest guys in the world. So I don't think in any other circumstance Steve Perry would have blown up at John just because he's the most non-confrontational. He's the most non-confrontational guy.
You need to calm down, Steve. Yeah.
And that's kind of how his personality is. Like, look, let's calm down. This is and all that. But at the same time, you got to look at from Steve Perry's point of view. First, the state shoved a temporary hospital down his throat in the convention. They're just now, from a marketing standpoint, shedding the images of Katrina in the convention center as they're selling the city around the world. Then they end up not even using this temporary hospital. Then they come in and extend this stay-at-home order, and he has to go and deliver the bad news to his members and the hospitality community at large that what you saw as a possible light at the end of the tunnel turned out to be a train.
Well, they put him in a terrible position. I mean, Steve is not some guy that just used to hand out the flyers. This guy was highly placed in the governor's office of this state.
Yeah, he was chief of staff when I worked for Governor Fuster. He was my boss. Yeah.
And, it puts him in the position of telling all these people he's been trying to make deals with that he can't make a deal with them. Why didn't you tell us that?
Okay.
Well, because they didn't consult with me.
Right.
Let's put a pin in it right there, and we'll return to the conversation at that point. We got to take a quick commercial break. More with Bryan Trascher and Mike Steele, the man of steel, with the Governor's Office of Homeland Security Emergency Preparedness coming up later in the hour. Exiles TV will be right back.
No, I know.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
No one taste the feeling.
That's right, the Clarence Bug Show is back, along with the Exiles, Bill Profita and Kevin Gallagher. We've put the band back together, South Louisiana's talk team, and it's only on the Pelican. 10 a.m. till 12 noon, right here on the Pelican.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
We're back. Exiles TV. I'm Kevin. He's Bill. Bryan Trascher in the center of our screen. Bryan is a man who wears many hats. He's an author. He's a lobbyist, an insider, an advisor to people on the Trump team, and it generally has a finger in the pie, so to speak. And we appreciate you coming, and without giving too much away, we appreciate you sharing some of the intel with us.
Yeah. Enjoy being here. Always.
I'm not following up finger with a pie. You got to ask the next question.
You got a dirty mind.
True.
Let's talk recovery, though. Some states are already opened up. I've noticed that you can almost go down categorically. The states that are already opened up, are already making moves, are the states that have Republican leadership. The states with Democratic leadership are trying their best to prolong the misery for as long as possible.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the politics of that. I mean, is it purely politics, or is it out of an overabundance of caution? What do you believe?
Well, you'd have to take it state by state. I'm not just going to assume that just because a state has a Democrat governor or a Republican governor that they have one agenda over another. Just like the state of Maryland technically has a Republican governor, Larry Hogan. He's very liberal and makes a lot of deals with the liberal legislature over there in Maryland. And then you have I would say, by national standards, conservative Democrat like John Bel Edwards, who, frankly, and I'm not defending or attacking Governor Edwards, what I'm saying is that 99% of what he has done has been in lockstep with White House guidance. Mm-hmm. So, when he extended the order, like I said, my personal opinion was that he was splitting the difference between the two voices in his head, and that's what he did, and I think he'll survive it. He'll come out of it looking fine. But going back to the states that are just being overly draconian, like Michigan, like Governor Whitmer, who's trying to position herself to be Joe Biden's running mate. That's why she's trying to make herself famous right now. Uh-huh. Look, you coming into the new year, President Trump looked all but unbeatable for re-election, mostly because of the economy. You got majority of America saying, I wish he'd stop tweeting, but I'm happy with the way the economy's going, and I'm voting with my pocketbook. That's the way most American voters are. Then this happens, and all of a sudden you see a manual, slowdown of the economy, pulling back the throttle manually, having artificially inflated unemployment, having artificially deflated stock market numbers, which stock market's already back about halfway than what it was when it dropped to its lowest. And I think that nationally, Democrats saw some blood in the water and say, hey, this, the one thing that Trump had going for him, we finally were able to make a dent in it. Let's keep it going, because if we don't, he's probably going to have it looking good again by election time, and he's going to get reelected.
Well, and I'm going to pull the pin out of this grenade, so you can blame it on me.
Yeah.
The fact is, most Democrats have a large portion of the people they feel that they represent,
right,
who are now saying, and the science will tell us yes or no later down the road,
right,
that we have more mortality in this disease. We are at greater risk because we are members of a minority group. We have pre-existing conditions that have been forced upon us by political standards. All right, this is the claim. So how many of these Democrats are dragging their feet because they want to appeal to this percentage of the vote that in most cases they have to get elected?
Well, listen, the Democrats.
You're describing pandering.
Pandering, yeah. And both sides pander. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I mean, everybody does.
But Democrats are used to having a base that's dependent on them for government entitlements and subsidies and things like that. And now, like, a lot more people are getting it, but a lot of folks that are even getting like unemployment or stimulus or whatnot would rather go back to work.
But I'm talking about the voter base of tomorrow. If I'm a Democrat governor, I'm running for re-election, I don't want somebody standing up there who has organized some sort of a union that sits there and says, you sent my husband back to work when it wasn't safe.
Right.
And I mean...
And there's that too. There's a liability thing, and everybody, now that the fear of coronavirus is starting to decline, that's why they came out with the murder hornets, by the way, right? You got to have a new thing to be scared of. But I think that a lot of folks are worried. Now they're talking about like the second wave, and now I noticed that the new narrative is we have to find out scientifically why the African American community was as savaged as they were by this virus. I mean, like they made up for like 70% of the deaths, which is unbelievable. We have to find out why.
Comorbidities historically.
But I agree. But and I'm not a scientist or anything like that. But the new narrative I'm starting to see is if you favor reopening, if you favor going back to work, then you're racist because you know that this is affecting the minority community.
Yeah,
that's the new.
That was the pin I pulled on the grenade.
And
there it
that's
is.
where we've got to leave it. Unfortunately, we're out of time. Bryan, thank you so much for being our guest.
Guys,
and,
anytime.
Let us know when you're in town. We'd love to have you back on anytime you're in town.
His book, it's a great read.
Can we get this
Laws
bar
and
open next
Sausage.
time?
Yeah,
okay.
We'll have some single malt in
Thanks.
there. Laws and Sausage is his book. You can get it on
If
Amazon.
Dakota can do it, we can do it. Let's have some malt.
Mike Steele joins us in just a moment or two. Stick around. This is Exiles TV on the Pelican.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Hello. Hola. 你好.
Experience what the Baton Rouge International School can offer your children. Now welcoming displaced students for short and long-term stability.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Clarence Bugg Show. Yeah, I'm back on the air. That's right, 10 a.m. until 12 noon, Monday and Wednesday, and we replay it Monday and Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. to midnight. Check us out online. You can watch it live at PelicanSportsTV.com, or better yet, why don't you just download the Pelican Broadcasting app? That way you can take it with you anywhere you go. That's right, the Clarence Bugg Show. Tell you what, oh, wait, gotta run, gotta go, bye.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Welcome back to Exiles TV. I'm Bill Profita. He is Kevin Gallagher. Boy, this show is flying by. We wanted to make sure that as we are in the first beginnings of hurricane season, and that we are hopefully in the first endings of the corona season, wanted to find out what happens at GOHSEP, the Governor's Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness, if these two seasons collide. And here to tell us about what they're doing for both is Communications Director of GOHSEP, Mike Steele. Mike's been on with us before, and Mike, glad to have you along with us.
Thanks for having us in.
We talked about this, I think, 5 or 6 weeks ago when you were giving us updates, that the nightmare scenario is to have a big bad storm in the Gulf while we still have people sheltering in place at home. That hasn't happened, but I would imagine the preparation chain has changed a little. For GOHSEP.
Absolutely. So we have a tabletop exercise scheduled for this week. We're going to take a look at all those factors. All of the state agencies and FEMA are going to be taking part in that, and we're going to be given a scenario where storms threatening the coast. We don't know the size of the storm ahead of time. We don't know the direction of the storm, potential impacts, any of that stuff ahead of time, and all of the different state agencies have to react. And this year we're going to throw in the scenario of we still have this COVID threat going on at the same time. So what actions would you take kind of dealing with a hurricane threat or a tropical threat, with these conditions still lingering around?
I have some specific questions. Like, one of the things is social distancing, 6 foot minimum distance. That's and I understand that. But if you're forced to open up hurricane shelters because the city is impacted, we're going to have to throw that out the door.
Yeah, well, possibly. I mean, there's still going to be modifications that have to get made, and it's important for people to realize if an evacuation's ordered, all of these health concerns and all these other things that we're talking about with COVID are going to be factored in. And if those evacuations are given, they're factoring that in, and the public needs to take action. Concerns about COVID isn't going to protect you from storm surge or whatever it is you may be facing. So you still need to take the actions. It's going to be the responsibility of the local governments, our local partners, and the state and FEMA to come up with solutions how to do that safely. It could be more shelters. It could be more buses used in transportation. It could be, a lot more PPE, which I know we're in the process of securing to make sure that we have the mask and any of the other protective gear needed, for the shelter operations, even the transport. There's going to be testing requirements probably at least temperature checks and everything at the checkpoints where people access any transportation, provided by the locals or the state. So there's going to be a lot of moving parts. A lot of it, we can't answer everything definitively because we don't know what time of the season we're going to get hit. If it hits early June, God forbid, or if it hits in August, the scenario could be completely different, based on what the conditions are.
Are there places currently being used as a COVID hospital, like Morial Convention Center, that would normally be a hurricane shelter or a sheltering facility?
So some of that, and it's important to realize everything ramps up. Like, the parishes don't automatically reach out to the state for support. The state doesn't automatically reach out to FEMA for support. So it depends on the event and if it ramps up to that level. So Orleans Parish, Jefferson Parish, Lafourche, all these parishes that could be impacted, they all have plans in place. Some of them are evacuation plans, some of them are local sheltering plans, but it's going to be dependent on what that scenario is. So that's why we can't really set even exact shelter locations ahead of time, because you basically have to get above the 10-12 corridor to get out of harm's way when you're dealing with a major hurricane. So we don't want to automatically tell people this is where you're going, because that shelter may not be an option for that particular event. So we have to modify things, and it's something we're kind of used to doing over the years.
Well, and quite frankly, in this state, until you get to Shreveport, all large facilities are below the 10-12 corridor. All large,
we do
all
have
large
the
hospitals.
state facility up at LSUA, the big, but that's a lot of times that's used for medical needs, patients and those type things. And when we're talking about these shelter sites, there may be a need to segregate people. Once we test, people that are part of the evacuation process, separating the people that are potentially positive or definitely positive, all of those factors are going to have to be looked at. If there's a silver lining to this whole thing, it's the fact that not a lot of our weather-related product, the tarps, the sandbags, the MREs, a lot of those type of things, all those supply chains remain pretty much intact.
Yeah, they didn't get hit with this.
Right, and the other thing is we're used to having events that kind of overlap each other. Anybody that's been in Louisiana over 10 years knows the fact that a lot of times when we get hit, we get kind of a 1-2 punch, whether it be a storm or another weather event. And if I could add one other thing, because I know here in Baton Rouge and in South Louisiana, we haven't really seen the problems as much. We've been battered with some pretty bad tornado outbreaks in North Louisiana.
Yes.
And so sometimes it's hard to convince people in South Louisiana, hey, there's other stuff going on right now, but we don't want people locked in just on hurricane season. That's why we talk about, having the supplies, having the plans ready, all that year round, because, floods, tornado outbreaks, those things happen a lot more than hurricanes.
I guess this goes without saying, but there's going to be more than the usual amount of focus on getting a game plan in place and being ready for a disaster.
Right. And when we talk about these things, we always like to say, do what you can, because we know a lot of people are going through financial difficulty right now. That's always a factor. But then when you add, what's going on with the economy right now, it's even more difficult. But you may need to add masks or other supplies, different protective equipment into your emergency supplies that we don't normally think about, on a yearly basis.
Well, that kind of dovetails into what I was going to ask you next. We traditionally in Louisiana, when we get a hurricane that makes an impact, the local government, the parish government, starts things rolling.
Absolutely.
And then the state sends in resources. The state gets resupplied by the feds, or the feds come to help. And a lot of these smaller parishes have absolutely no cash flow right now. So is there a reserve of emergency funding? For example, if something hits, between the cities, it hits between Baton Rouge and Lafayette, is there some money that can go to St. Mary Parish immediately, or Terrebonne Parish immediately?
Yeah. So what you mentioned are the three major support functions where we talk about it ramping up: locals to the state, then to the feds. But there's a lot more in between that. We have the State Business Emergency Operations Center that can do a lot of resource providing, basically, in the middle of an event. A lot of these parishes have state parish-to-parish agreements already in place where they know like I believe it's Terrebonne has a big agreement with Ouachita Parish, where they basically pick up everybody that they know is going to need support, and they take them to the Monroe Civic Center. And so there's a lot of these agreements that are in place, before things kind of reach our level that they've already established.
But they've all got a price tag. Sooner or later, somebody's got to write a check.
Yeah, they do, and that's why it's important. Even with this event, with the COVID fight, the FEMA's there to help support us with a lot of the costs, associated with this. That's going to vary depending on what our total cost winds up being as far as the reimbursement and everything. But again, you have to find a way to make it done. I'm not the financial expert by any means. I may need somebody else from our office or from the state to help answer that. But we usually find a way to get through those situations, and all my family's here. I'm confident we would find a way to deal with all these situations.
Mike, I'm curious. You talked about the tabletop exercise, and you said going into this thing, we don't know the path of the storm. Here's my question. I'm just curious. Do you have like a dungeon master that is like calling the shots?
It's
that
the
one
National
person?
Weather Service.
Yeah. So, like Jay?
No, it's the National Weather Service. Out of New
I'm
Orleans.
talking about for the tabletop exercise, which is purely a drill. As you're going along, do you have someone that says, this thing just took a jog to the north and is headed straight for New Orleans?
No, that's what they
sort of thing?
provide. They provide that those updates to us, so we get those updates.
So they're fictional updates, but they're still coming from the National Weather
That's
Service.
Right. That is actually a built-in part of the exercise.
It's like the check pilot in the flight simulator. Guess what? You just lost engine number 2.
That's exactly what it's like.
And it is actually somebody from National Weather Service.
Right. Yes.
Well, that's good to know that you prepare in that
Now,
fashion.
you want to prepare for the worst case scenario, so I'm imagining there's not too many of these tabletop exercises where they go, all clear, headed for Texas.
Yeah, we kind of wish, they would all turn into Barry like last year, but that's usually not the case. So.
We were talking with Mike Steele, by the way, from GOHSEP, and talking about, they've had to ramp up for COVID. They have had to ramp up for these tornadoes that hit the central part of our state 3 times in the last month and a half, and now we're talking about hurricane season. When we return from our break with Mike, we'll talk a little bit about the guidance that you get. Dr. Klotzbach at Colorado State University was calling for 7 major hurricanes. And if he's even 90% right, that could be a hellfire scenario for everybody along the Gulf Coast.
Yeah, I don't put a tremendous amount of stock. This goes back to my news days too. It's interesting to talk about the scenarios or whatever, but I really don't care what those forecasts call for. I care about the ones that
what's
catch
happening
us in the crosshairs
now.
And so that's kind of what we urge the public to do too.
We're going to take our break. We'll be back in a minute with Mike Steele from GOHSEP. Stick around.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent.
Depend on us for service, for selection, for price.
Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing.
You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
That's right, the Clarence Buggs Show is back, along with the Exiles, Bill Profita and Kevin Gallagher. We've put the band back together, South Louisiana's talk team, and it's only on the Pelican. 10 a.m. till 12 noon, right here on the Pelican.
For total home pest control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvant.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private Healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready. And health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hey, there you are. Thanks for coming back. This is Exiles TV. He's Bill. I'm Kevin. Our guest, the man of Steele, Mike Steele from the Governor's Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness. Call it GOHSEP. I think,
by the way,
how many years has it been GOHSEP? We should have gotten used to that by now.
I'm finally getting used to it. And we only call you the man of Steel because your wife likes it.
Yeah, it's pretty disappointing to everybody else, probably. So.
your wife tells us she likes it.
Good deal.
So that's why we refer to you that way.
I don't think that anybody out there presumes that GOHSEP is not going to be prepared for a double whammy on this thing. I mean, you're probably prepared for, as you said, a triple whammy. We could have COVID, and then we could have like a Katrina Rita or a Gustav Isaac situation where they happen within weeks of one another. So you guys have always got it under control as far as what you're going to do. What challenges do you face, though, in maintaining that control?
So, it started with PPE, or with personal protective equipment, because it looked like there was going to be the potential there for kind of a long run of those types of shortages, dealing with those types of things. Now the levels have started kind of coming back to normal a little bit, so we're able to start making some of those purchases. We already had some of that equipment on hand, but we expected it to be kind of related to maybe a bad flu outbreak or something while there was a need for shelter operations. So we had a few days worth of supplies like that, but we're just going to have to ramp that up significantly to make sure that we're ready for this type of event. And everything in emergency management, I think we've talked about this before, you take what happened this year for 2020, which hasn't been the best year, but you take the lessons learned with this event, with what we've gone through with this, and we're going to build on it for the future, and that's kind of the nature of the work. I'm sure FEMA's going to do the same thing. I'm sure a lot of the federal and state agencies that we work with are going to do the same thing.
I'm interested in this because I think it's fascinating. With the Fusion Center that we operate, and how many people are giving you input on meteorology, on transportation, on weather patterns. How many different agencies are coming into the wide end of that funnel?
So there's 16 emergency support functions that we deal with, and that's all like my emergency support function is 15 because I deal with the communications and the public information output. Every agency that we work with is tied into at least one of those emergency support functions. So obviously DOTD would be involved in the evacuation process, state police, the National Guard, health, because a lot, DOTD has a lot of the bus contracts, so some of their staff works on those type things. So everybody kind of knows their role, and usually we're working, when you see that Emergency Operations Center at GOHSEP stood up, the big room, command room with all the people in there, those are usually people that we've worked with a lot in the past, so that helps. We have a lot of those relationships already built, and then when we do exercises, normally this is kind of the off season, so to speak, for us, as we kind of ramp up and we do a lot of training and everything. But with this year, between COVID and the tornadoes and everything else going on, we've already had everybody kind of working there or teleworking in some cases, as we've gone along.
Social distancing and press conferences when a major hurricane's coming. How are you going to handle that?
So we've already been doing that. As the governor's been doing his press conferences at GOHSEP many of the days, we're testing people as they come onto the compound, on the state police DPS compound, and then we're also testing people as they come into our building. As a matter of fact, that's what that band's for. So
you're good to go.
Yeah, we get checked we get checked every day, at least once or twice. And then everybody coming into the building, whether they be media or whoever, the same.
I remember sometimes in the past, and it's been many years since I had to cover one, thank goodness, but it got pretty intimate in that media room.
We've changed the room around a little bit. The room size is still the same, but we've kind of rearranged some things where there's more room as you come in the door because the podium and everything is on the opposite end of the room. And then we have some desks in there. And what we did was we used our pool camera that we have from LPB and used that to try and tell the media, like, hey, we have a camera available.
No need to send a reporter
yeah,
necessarily?
Or you could send a reporter, but there's no reason to send maybe a full camera crew like you would normally do. So we tried to make some adjustments. Now the governor's kind of transitioning to having more of the press conferences back over at the Capitol, which obviously his media room's a lot larger than ours.
It's easier to space out.
But I've seen the spacing in that fourth floor room at the Capitol. I mean, they've got them sitting 8-9 feet apart in that room.
And we're trying to do that kind of on a smaller level in our office.
If you need to, are you going to be able to, if media outlets decide I'm not going to send somebody there, I'm going to cover it telemetrically, I'm going to take your feed, but then they have a question, is there a way for them to text that or email it or something along those lines?
I believe I'm not 100% positive on that because a lot of that goes directly through the governor's staff on some of that, but I'm sure that would be an option. We're looking at answering questions from the public at times now, as part of the press conferences, so they're always kind of looking for innovative ways, so I'm sure that would be something they would work out.
When it gets real close, when we know that something is happening, who do you get usable information from? Is it National Weather Service New Orleans? Is it National Hurricane Center? Is it the Euro model? Is it all of the above?
I don't understand the whole modeling process. This is what I do for my family, and I'm not saying this is 100% the right way, but the National Weather Service has to talk about some of the worst case scenarios.
Oh, absolutely, sure.
Then when you hear some of the local meteorologists that you trust, to me, it seems like they kind of break down some of that information and say, like, hey, this is what the Weather Service is saying, but we think here it could mean this. And so the main thing is just stay informed. A lot of times that messaging syncs up, without any controversy, I guess. But the main thing to do is stay informed. Make sure you have the weather apps on your phone. We have Alert FM, which is a great app that we offer free if people want to sign up for that. But the local media have a lot of great resources available. The National Weather Service does an awesome job on their Facebook and Twitter platforms. You really have to be, covered up somewhere not to be able to get information these days, and that's one of the benefits of technology.
I was kind of surprised that the emergency alert for local serious weather emergencies actually takes over my contour box when I'm asleep and it is turned off, and you get the alert. And I was like, the first time it happened, I jumped out of my bed about that high.
Yeah.
But it does work.
Yeah. And there's, we're actually allowed to use, we do it very, very sparingly, but our office is approved to tap into the EAS system that would hit a lot of those type devices and technology. We've only done it for like major interstate closures in the past, things that potentially could have impacted, the entire Gulf Coast on transportation problems and everything. But if there is a need, with COVID and everything going on, that is another option.
Mike, is there any message you'd like to get out to folks watching that we haven't asked so far?
Pay attention. Don't get locked in just on hurricanes. Pay attention to any weather, the potential for severe weather. We've got 4 or 5 days, I think, coming up this week, where we could have some pretty significant rainfall and everything. But the main thing is keep yourself informed. Pay attention to the circumstances. If you are able to start building your supplies, think about any COVID equipment you may need to get through with that. And think about having, a cash supply, again, if you can, so that if you are asked to evacuate, here in Louisiana, it could be a plant emergency or a hazmat event that could force you out of your home. So it's always good to have some of those basic things, and then we have our getagameplan.org where you can learn all about any of these different type scenarios, and listen to your local leaders. The locals in Louisiana call for an evacuation if they're ordered. It's something they do not take lightly, and it's oftentimes they don't like making that call. But if they make that call, there's a reason they're doing it.
Well, and I think we've learned how to be a little more compliant with notifications like that. So maybe, God forbid, if they have to call for an evacuation, people say, okay, well, let's go.
I think, sadly, Katrina taught us some valuable lessons about not complying with an evacuation order.
It sure did. Mike Steele, Communications Director for GOHSEP, the Governor's Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness. Look, I got it all out in the right order. Has been joining us. And Mike, I know we'll be talking with you again. Thanks for all you do, and tell everybody up there that we're cheering them on. They do God's work up there. They really do.
We appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks.
We'll be back to wrap up the show in just a moment. Tell you what's going to happen on the Thursday edition as well on Exiles TV. Back with you in just a second. Stick around.
For Total Home Pest Control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvat.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Clarence Bug Show. Yeah, I'm back on the air. That's right, 10 a.m. until 12 noon, Monday and Wednesday, and we replay it Monday and Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. to midnight. Check us out online. You can watch it live at PelicanSportsTV.com, or better yet, why don't you just download the Pelican Broadcasting app? That way you can take it with you anywhere you go. That's right, the Clarence Bug Show. Tell you what, oh, wait, gotta run, gotta go, bye.
And we're back. A few more minutes. Exiles TV. Glad to have you with us. By the way, I want to remind you that if you're not necessarily near a TV when Exiles TV comes on, but you'd like to watch it, well, download the app. Download the Pelican Broadcasting app to your phone, and you can watch it live as it happens from anywhere you happen to be.
And
got it right here on my phone.
It is an easy download. For those of you with Apple products particularly, right to the App Store, it's loaded in a minute. Done.
Yep, you just search Pelican Broadcasting in the App Store, whichever App Store you're using. And of course, if you have a laptop or you're working from a PC at home, you can just go to PelicanSportsTV.com right there on the screen. Thank you, Jonathan. And you can watch in real time there as well. And of course, Pelican Broadcasting is also on YouTube, as are every one of these shows, the Clarence Bug Show. Also, all the other quality programs on Pelican Broadcasting are right there on the YouTube channel.
So anyway, there is no excuse. We will take roll on Thursday. We're going to want to know if you're there or not. You have been warned.
So Thursday morning,
we have got...
I'm working on the Louisiana Oil and Gas Association.
And I believe we've got somebody else scheduled for Thursday morning, but it slips my mind right
Well,
at this time.
the Louisiana Oil and Gas Association, this is a controversial topic, especially for people in the industry. There is a bill afoot, Senate Bill 349, I believe is the number. Senate Bill 349 would take power away from the parishes to sue oil and gas companies for what they deem to be environmental damage in their parish. And, the oil companies over the decades, they've dug a lot of canals from the Gulf inward. They've done a lot of pipelines, and some say that they haven't promised to clean up their mess like they said they would, and that's what these lawsuits are about. Now, if the Senate bill passes, it'll take that power away from individual parishes and give that power purely to the state. Now, there are those who don't like that idea because they say the state may not be inclined at all to sue for these damages.
Or if they do, may not be inclined to make the parishes whole.
Right. If the state sues, the state gets the money. Will they filter the money down to the parishes? This is the controversy. Now, as you might imagine, the Louisiana Oil and Gas Association is for this bill because it would limit the number of people who could come at them for money. So I'm working on getting Clifford Briggs, who is the president of LOGA, and getting him on the program. If not this Thursday, I'm going to work on getting it for next week.
So now that the salons and hairstylists have gotten the go-ahead to start cutting hair again.
Yes, absolutely. Hopefully Saturday. Now, our stylist, Marianne, and I see the same person, and she sent us a text that says, I'm allowed to reopen Saturday. Do you want appointments? And say, hell yes, we want appointments.
See, I'm changing my mind.
I got a Michael Landon thing going on today, don't I?
I mean, I'm thinking another month. I'm thinking another month you could do a dramatic series.
Well, if I want to hire out as Santa Claus come Christmas time, I'm going to need more hair than this. So be looking for it. I'm going to be growing out the hair and the beard as we get into the fall.
You've definitely got kind of a 70s movie star thing going here.
I've kind of got a, what was that? The Rob Bryan used to be the defensive coach.
No, you haven't got that. No.
Fat Fabio.
No, you don't have Fat Fabio, because his hair was long and stringy, which is why I called him
his
Fat
hair was
Fabio.
long and greasy most of the time.
Well, that too. Well, he's kind of...
But yeah, actually, when you started calling him Fat Fabio, that's what I said. You know what? I'm cutting my hair.
It's my fault.
Well, I'm with you. I think there's some people that longer hair does not look good on, and portly guys not so much.
I think yours is looking really good. I mean that sincerely. I'm not joking around.
Wow.
We will be back on Thursday.
Bill just complimented me.
Join us for Exiles TV. Be well. Be
God
safe.
bless. Take care.